Do you guys want to get to a bit of sound? And then we can
let's do another clip. Yeah. Brendan.
Let's talk. You want to talk about this is to me the big, and something else just happened earlier. I'm going to grab those clips while we play these ones to show you. But apparently even hell is breaking loose on Fox News because of what's going on with the Trump and apparently now the Trump administration refusing to condemn white supremacy.
First.
Let's get to this sound. Yeah. So everyone knows now that, the biggest takeaway from that shit show of a debate between Joe Biden and Donald Trump was that Donald Trump refused to condemn white supremacists. And in fact, when given a specific group to name, the Proud Boys, to condemn, he didn't condemn them. In fact, he said to stand back and stand by, and then proceeded to say someone needs to do something about Antifa. Which, to me, sounds like a message to that specific group you just told to stand by. I don't know what you guys
more
think.
Importantly, it sounded like that to them.
Right, yes. He was asked again yesterday on the White House lawn by a reporter to condemn white supremacy. And this is what he had to say. Did he condemn white supremacy? Let's find out. What do you guys think?
Let me follow up. White supremacists, they clearly love you and support you. You welcome them.
I want law and order to be a very important part. It's a very important part of my campaign. And when I say that, what I'm talking about is law enforcement the police have to take care. And they should stop defunding the police like they've done in New York. Like they've done in New York. I just told you.
But you denounce them. Do you denounce
I've always denounced any form of any of that you have to denounce. But I also, Joe Biden has to say something about Antifa. It's not a philosophy. These are people that hit people over the head with baseball bats. He's got to come out and he's got to be strong and he's got to condemn Antifa. And it's very important that he does it.
Well, there you go. Once again, Donald Trump asked to condemn white supremacists. And not only does he not condemn white supremacists, he proceeds to bring up Antifa, anti-fascists, and asks, he's trying to deflect. And he asked Joe Biden to condemn Antifa, which, Joe Biden has taken that bait actually and have condemned any sort of Antifa violence. But that aside, let's also take a moment to notice that when asked about white supremacists, another deflection move from Trump was to bring up law and order. And now I'm actually not sure if that was a deflection move or Donald Trump accidentally rightly conflating law enforcement and law and order in general with white supremacy. Because
he does.
He'd be spot on because that's the truth.
Yeah, he does draw these very nice straight lines between these seemingly disparate groups, which are now becoming more and more aligned as we continue through, the Trump era and, the Republicans basically becoming the white people party.
Look, some of those that work forces are the same that burn crosses. And I said, I'm going to support those that work forces. That's what he did at the debate too, right? He's like, what have you done for black people, Donald? And he's like, oh, a great economy. By the way, we got to support our law enforcement. It's like, how would you connect those two issues, pal? Can we play let's tack on Kill Me just before we go any further. Just to show how the right wing is attempting to spin this.
The other thing I would like to add is the President of the United States would do himself a solid and his party a solid to take some time today to clarify about his white supremacist statement, whether it was the franticness of the night. But a lot of people are forced to explain it today that have other things to do, like, for example, try to get a Supreme Court justice confirmed, Steve.
This is just acknowledging that what you don't want to do before an election is depress your base. And like Donald Trump, Brian Kilmeade saying they will do the Republican Party a solid. I'm not so sure. I don't know. Maybe it would help some of the professionals there. But Donald Trump, let's just remind people, his father, Fred Trump, was arrested at a Queens Klan rally in 1927. He was fined by the Justice Department in 1973 for doing things like no vacancy signs for black people. what do you think he told his son about politics? Where do you think he ideologically was in the 1930s, for instance, and 40s?
And about race in general, actually.
Yeah, he went.
Yeah.
In his 20s, he was going to Klan rallies, so he was politically activated, right? Donald Trump, in the divorce proceedings with his ex-wife, I can't remember his wife's names, but she accused him of having a book basically called Hitler's sequel to Mein Kampf, which was his speeches, political speeches.
Ivana or Marla Maples? I think Marla Maples did this one. I can't
remember which one it was. It was in the early 90s. And basically the defense is he doesn't read. And so, like, look, I don't know. I think this guy is what he is, and I think he's ideologically, explicitly thinks like the idea that he could be a white supremacist is not one we should discount. But anyway,
yeah,
I think that's
he is. This is
absolutely. You don't need to wear
100%.
Absolutely, you don't need to wear a KKK hood and march with Sig Heiling in the streets to be a white supremacist.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is what he's running on. He's running on 100% white aggrievement politics with, I guess a little dash of pretend economic populism, but mostly it's the racism. And we've found that to be true, increasingly so since 2016. Like, the fact that he's getting bolder about saying the quiet parts out loud is a sign that things are decaying, and what little power the opposition party had is going away more and more. I don't know. It's bad, folks. Like, this does feel like something new, right? Because he did denounce white supremacists before, even when he was doing like both sides after Charlottesville. This feels like he's getting a little bit bolder about being on the side of the white supremacists.
Well,
pivoting immediately to Antifa.
Exactly. That's the change. Is now he's basically saying he's not saying I disavow all of it. He's saying I lament it, but as long as we're going to have Antifa, we're going to have Proud Boys too. That's what he's saying, basically. And I think he is being explicit about that. And I think the Republican Party is 100% supportive of that. And I think, the mainstream media is not equipped to deal with this.
Look at the reaction to Kyle Rittenhouse, the Kenosha shooter. They think he's the hero because he stood up to the Antifa BLM protesters and shot 3 of them, killing 2 of them. A Christian group raised $500,000 for this 17-year-old murderer. I mean, it doesn't matter anymore what they think about. It's not a thing about violence.
It's being put into policy now as well in places like Florida and Texas, where they're giving people rights to, run people over in their cars if they feel like their lives are being threatened by protesters.
Right. Absolutely. That's a great point, Brendan. And to continue on that, actually, this just happened moments ago. Let's get to this. Do you have those clips, Brendan, just to make sure before I go any further? Okay. So to really prove to you, to let you know that this isn't just a Donald Trump thing where he won't condemn white supremacists. This is the Republican Party as a whole. And there's no better proof than earlier today, the White House press secretary, Kayleigh McEnany, was asked the same question about condemning white supremacists. And here's what she had to say.
If I could start off, I'd like to ask you for a definitive and declarative statement without ambiguity or deflection. As the person who speaks for the president, does the president denounce white supremacism and groups that espouse it in all their forms?
This has been answered yesterday by the president himself, the day before by the president himself on the debate stage. The president was asked this. He said, sure, 3 times. Yesterday, he was point blank asked, do you denounce white supremacy? And he said, I've always denounced any form of that. I can go back and read for you in August 2019, in one voice, our nation must condemn racism, bigotry, and white supremacy. In August of 2017, racism is evil, and those who cause violence in its name are criminals and thugs, including the KKK, neo-Nazis, white supremacists, and other hate groups. I have an entire list of these quotes that I can go through with you. He has condemned white supremacy more than any president in modern history.
Just to clear it up this morning, can you naming it, make a declarative statement that you denounce, that the president denounces it.
I just did. The president has denounced this repeatedly. The president was asked this. You're contriving a storyline and a narrative.
I'm just asking you to put this to rest.
I just
did.
I read you all of the quotes, and if you need to see them in writing,
this is the thing.
I'll put them in an email. Hold on.
So, Haley, can you right now denounce white supremacy and the group that espoused?
The president has denounced white supremacy, the KKK, and hate groups in all
really
forms.
Is amazing.
He signed a resolution to that effect. The president just last week, perhaps you all weren't covering it, but just last week expressed his desire to see the KKK prosecuted as domestic terrorists. This president had advocated for the death penalty for a white supremacist, the first federal execution in 17 years. His record on this is unmistakable, and it's shameful that the media.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, rarely though. I just want to interject for 1 second. Rarely do you get this like that. And I usually wouldn't play a clip that long, maybe, but the president gets asked something and then he immediately moves on. They had McEnany, the White House press secretary, there for 2 minutes straight. And she could not just say the words. And it's really something to behold. I don't know what else to say to describe what you just saw other than just amazing. Like, they just can't do it because they know what would happen politically if they did.
Yeah. And I just got to say,
upset the base.
Jay Rosen is right about this. This was, I think, about maybe Rittenhouse a while back, but she was hired to fight with, or in this case, to fight at the press, not to spin or spar, but to degrade and discredit reporters, which generates clips for the base. When the press shows up to be fought with, it confirms the logic of the appointment. They needed to stop humoring any of these spokespersons, but McEnany particularly. Stop acting like stop going and do some other journalism somewhere else.
Well, I mean, I think if you're a White House correspondent, that's, you're there. That's what you do. So I don't think this was a Fox News reporter too, by the way. This is John Roberts. Play that next clip, Matt, about his reaction, Brendan, about his reaction to that. Fox interviewed him after, and he spoke about his back and forth with White House press secretary.
And for all of you on Twitter who are hammering me for asking that question, I don't care. Because it's a question that needs to be asked. And clearly, the president's Republican colleagues a mile away from here are looking for an answer for it, too. So stop deflecting. Stop blaming the media.
I mean, the point here is not to herald John Roberts for asking a question. The point here is that a Fox News reporter is even getting shit from the base, the right-wing base, for asking these questions, which should just be pretty clear. I denounce white supremacy. He can't say it. Trump can't say it. And the base is getting angry that even a Fox News reporter dared to ask the question.
Yeah, no. And I think it's good that they are making it clear, right? That is one purpose that the press serves, is to clarify. Oh, wait, what did you just say when you were like, hey, fascist street gang, stand back and stand by? What did you mean by that? But also, it's never going to be enough just to identify it and call it out, right? Because we can have all the best opinions in the world and we can have all the best knowledge in the world. But if we don't have power, these people are still going to have a unified, authoritarian, right-wing government, right? So that is only one piece of the puzzle. And the left-wing media doesn't always do a very good job covering the far right, or I will say the far left, as evidenced by that garbage New York Times story that just came out. But
the so-called left-wing media, you're saying?
Yeah, right. yeah. The mainstream media, the liberal media. I don't know. It's very vulnerable to being taken over and used by fascists because fascists are very slippery.
I mean, I got to say, my heart sank every time Chris Wallace was like, oh, let's talk about race issues now. It's like, you nor any of the two guys on stage is equipped to deal with this issue in a way that's going to be helpful to this country. Particularly not Donald Trump and at this moment in history. And I don't know, I get that they have a job too, but I think they never sent a single signal, this entire administration, that this, and look, I get lying happens from that podium in any administration, but the just strategic and blatant lies from Sean Spicer to here. The press corps never sent a good signal about
Huckabee Sanders.
Yeah, like just they never sent a signal, I guess is my problem.